Season kicks off in 12 hours in Detroit. Cowboys and Lions both desperately fighting to stay in the playoff race. Right now, both teams are on the outside looking in. Cowboys riding a 3-game winning streak. Lions not able to feast on Thanksgiving against the Packers. Let me show you exactly what it looks like in the NFC. Our analytics say if the Lions win tonight, the Cowboys are basically done. A Cowboy win tonight would give them 4 straight wins, see their playoff chances double to around 33%, and as we'll show you in a little while, their remaining schedule is favorable, so this could be the win that catapults Dallas to a serious playoff run. I've had people here tell me this week, Dan Orlovsky, they think this game itself is a good matchup for Dallas. Great. What do you think?
If I was Dallas, I'd try to win Dak the MVP tonight. If I walk into Detroit and Detroit wants to play man coverage, and they do, I'm going to throw the ball 40 times. It will always start with George Pickens. He's the best receiver in football this year versus man coverage. And ever since they've acquired him, the Cowboys, I've talked about this, get into these 3-by-1 formations, 3 away from George, George at the bottom of the screen, CeeDee at the top of the screen. If you, as a defense, want to play man coverage, Detroit plays it as much as anybody, and you want to double team George, which is what Kansas City does, bottom of the screen, they lean the safety, then you have an all-pro receiver, CeeDee Lamb, working with space against a nickel corner easy out route. Down in the red zone, George is by himself once again at the bottom of the screen. I got the trips at the top. CeeDee Lamb is at the top. If you want to lean your safety once again to George Pickens' side because you don't want to play him one-on-one, then I have a tight end run down the middle of the field. You got to pay attention to Ferguson. CeeDee, double move, touchdown. Now you get into situations where you're like, all right, we can't continue to allow the other all-pro receiver at the 3-by-1 formation to kill us. We will play George Pickens one-on-one. This year versus man coverage, George one-on-one, 653 yards, 32 first downs accounted for. He's going to kill you in man coverage, Detroit, tonight. If that's the case, I would put Dak at the MVP right now at third. I would throw it 40 times, and I would throw for over 300 yards.
Dak cannot win the MVP unless they win this game tonight, because there's no way that voters are picking an MVP on a team that doesn't even make the playoffs.
Right.
And if they don't win tonight, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. The flip side is, if they do win, I think Dak vaults himself right into that MVP conversation. And if they do win, we've said this before, watch out for the Dallas Cowboys. Greeny's going to be chomping on his cigar, putting on his cowboy hat. If you take a look at their schedule here, down the stretch, if they find a way to win tonight, it is favorable. You tell me, down the stretch, if they wouldn't be favored to win every one of those 4 games, there they are. Their chance of winning are above 50% all 4 times. And so the Cowboys could go on one of these extended runs. This would be their 4th straight win tonight.
Yes.
They'd have a chance to win 7, 8 straight games.
Correct.
They'd have a chance to make the playoffs. If they're making the playoffs, Dak's in the MVP conversation. Yeah. And they got a chance to make some noise in the postseason and get to where they haven't been in 30 years.
So both sides of this I want to look at. Starting again with that offensive side as my receiver expert here. I mean, these 2 guys are the best combination in the league right now. And the Lions, to Dan's point, they want to play man coverage. Not only that, they're all banged up in their secondary. Do you expect Pickens and Lamb to go crazy tonight?
I do expect them to go crazy. I do think that, yes, these receivers have played amazing, but I do have to credit Dak and what he's been able to do in that process as well. Over that 3-game stretch, 942 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's playing at an elite level. When you watch in the game tape, Pickens has brought the element that we all dreamed of when they signed him in the offseason or traded for him. But when you watch Dak play with him, he has adapted to George Pickens' style, because George Pickens is always like, does he have the route detail? Can you counter him to always be in the same spot every time? You're going to see these highlights. You're going to see it run these slants. He might do a 1-step slant. It might be a 3-step slant. It might be a 4-step slant. Same play, different timing. He's just going off of vibes and what he feels on the field. And Dak is he's leaning on that back foot, and he's filling in whatever gaps that Pickens is doing out there. And it is the best version of football for Pickens to get to his elite ability that we've seen this season.
So let me get the bussing guys in on all of this. There's been a lot of Cowboys hype, a lot of bandwagon. Everyone is all in on them because it just looks like something different than it was before. Are you all in on this Dallas train?
I've played this game before. I got all in on them right before they played the Denver Broncos.
You got out?
I got out. I was in a toxic relationship with the Dallas Cowboys.
You want to come back in?
I'm feeling myself coming back in. You see the addition of Quinn Williams and what it's done for that defense. Because what we've said all year is this defense, if they could just be labeled mediocre, then you have the opportunity to be a contender. With those 2, with Quinn Williams and Kenny Clark, they have the ability to push the pocket, and you see the production from those edge rushers and Dante Fowler and Jadeveon Clowney. that is putting more pressure on the quarterback, which makes routes speed up. So it's helping everybody on the back end as well. It's turning this into a mediocre defense. So they win this game. I'm but I'm going to show me, don't tell me. I can't fully invest and get on with the Cowboys just yet.
You got to buy in. They're coming.
You got to see them win in order to say they're going to win.
I don't disagree, but I've been hurt too many times. Right? I'm in the notebook. Okay. What do you want? It's not that easy.
And you talk about Clark and Williams too,
not that simple.
Like Overshown and even Logan Wilson too. Like this defense, you talk about it being mediocre. They were 29th in total yards, and just being mediocre in the last 3 games, they flipped it down to 312. In the running game, they're only giving up 69 yards per game in their last 3 games compared to 124 throughout the season. So the defense is playing mediocre. They're playing a lot better. Everybody's communicating. They're getting after the quarterback. Dallas is coming.
You got to get Logan Wilson in there, huh?
The crazy thing is,
Logan Wilson, dude. I said it a couple weeks ago. There was a linebacker competition happening in that room, and it was elevating everybody. Overshown was getting healthy. The back end's communicating a lot more. They're getting healthier in the back end. Dallas is. They're coming from the East.
I only see one lion on the screen.
Look, Hawk from Willie C right now. They're coming for the East.
That's an insane pick by you, by the way.
Yeah, Hawks flying solo. I'm okay with that. That's what I do. But
that's what they do.
The reason why I have them, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown plays. Okay. And I think what he does well is what the Cowboys defense struggles with.
Wait, hold on. But before I answer, why do you think he plays?
Because that's Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's not the way they've talked about the injury. And I have no idea. But we know what makes him special. He is a competitor. He wants to be out there, and he wants to help his team. And I think they run this offense through him. So if he can get out there, they're resting him for that reason.
The Lions are beat up everywhere, right? Really quickly.
Well, they're listing him as questionable for tonight. The fact that he's listed as questionable, to me, is a win, because when he went down on Thanksgiving Day, it looked like he might not play for multiple weeks. They're saying questionable tonight. They've already ruled out their safety, Kirby Joseph. They've ruled out their tight ends. Sam Laporte is out for the year. They're banged up here at key spots. They need Amon-Ra to find a way to play tonight.
Now, a lot of drama as we lead up to that, and we'll have much more on that game as we continue. Plus, there are rivals. Can the team in green finally stop the bleeding, or is the Philly free fall about to get even worse? We'll dive into that. Plus, the Steelers in a spiral, facing the biggest game of their season. Will Rodgers and company bounce back and take down Lamar and the Ravens? We're looking ahead to all the NFL action.
Kevin Nagani back with you. Week 14 of the NFL starts off with some serious playoff implications on the line after having just a 9% chance to make the playoffs 2 weeks ago. A win could give Dallas a 36% chance. The Lions, on the other hand, had a 72% chance on Week 12. That currently is less than a 50% shot entering Thursday night. 2-time Super Bowl champ Booger McFarland back with us here. So, Lions, Cowboys tomorrow night. What's the one thing you're watching for in this critical showdown?
It's got to be that Lions defense, Kev. I think when you look at Dallas's offense, first of all, both offenses are going to score a ton of points. But specifically Dallas's offense, now that they got George Pickens to go with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, they're running the football with Javonte Williams. Like, it is one of the more high-powered offenses in football. Can this Detroit Lions defense hold the Cowboys offense down? They're going to have to play better. If you watch them on Thanksgiving Day, Green Bay went up and down the field against this Lions secondary. That secondary has got to play better. They're going against two of the best receivers in football, maybe the best pair of receivers when you talk about Lamb and Pickens. So it's going to be imperative that Detroit defense show up and play well. And Aiden Hutchinson is going to have a career day against this Cowboys offensive line to put some pressure on Dak Prescott.
Got to get in the backfield. We'll see how that plays out. Let's go to the AFC. Another critical matchup. The 6-6 Chiefs. They host the 7-5 Texans. Sunday Night Football. KC loss drops their playoff chances to 12%. Houston, they've got the league's best defense. They've won 4 straight. Here's Patrick Mahomes today.
It's going to match their intensity. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, obviously the D-line's good, the linebackers are good, and the DBs are good. But I think what makes them who they are is how hard they play. Every single snap they're flying around, and they're trying to make plays happen. They're trying to intercept the football. They're trying to knock the football out. They're trying to make big hits. And so we got to match that intensity as an offense and as a team in order to go out there and get a win.
All right, by the way, the Chiefs could be without 3 of their starting linemen here, Boog. How can they contain a strong Texas defensive line that wants to eat?
Well, they better pray, first of all. If you're going to be without 3 starters, that's what I would start with, number one. Second of all, listen, the best part of the Houston
Cowboys Nation, buckle up, because today's story is one of those rare intersections where controversy, superstardom, leadership, and raw talent collide in a way that only the Dallas Cowboys could deliver. And whether the national media wants to admit it or not, the league is watching, because George Pickens has become one of the most electrifying players in football, and yet the narrative forming around him is as dramatic as anything happening on the field. The latest ESPN report from Todd Archer and Jeremy Fowler made sure the world heard it. George Pickens, the same wide receiver lighting up the NFL with highlight after highlight in his first season with the Cowboys, has brought with him some of the same red flags that followed him out of Pittsburgh. Missed team buses, occasional tardiness, disciplinary fines, accountability issues that dated back to his Steelers days, where he reportedly ran into a litany of violations, including showing up late to meetings, being disciplined multiple times, and even arriving late to the 2024 Christmas Day game against the Chiefs. But here's the part the national talking heads will never tell you. In Dallas, Pickens isn't falling apart, he's leveling up. Because inside that same ESPN story, buried beneath the headlines, is the truth that Cowboys fans have already come to understand. Pickens has been fined, yes, but he's also been accountable. He's been coachable. He's been working harder than ever before in his career, and he has, without question, been the most explosive, dynamic force on this Cowboys offense all season long. Let's go back to Week 11, the infamous benching against the Raiders. Pickens missed the team bus. CeeDee Lamb missed curfew. Mike Eberflus decided to send a message, and both receivers sat out the opening drive. The offense sputtered. Fans panicked. The cameras caught the tension. Then Pickens got on the field, and the transformation began. 9 catches, 144 yards, a touchdown. Dominance from the first snap he touched until the game was in hand. That is who George Pickens is. A player who makes mistakes, acknowledges mistakes, but responds with a level of fire and production that very few receivers in the NFL can match. And this isn't speculation. This isn't fan bias. This is statistical dominance. Pickens enters the Lions matchup with 73 receptions, 105 targets, 1,142 yards, and 8 touchdowns. He is second in the NFL in receiving yards behind only Jackson Smith and Jigba. He ranks top 3 in explosive plays, top 5 in yards per route run. He has been the Cowboys' lifeline, their spark, their most dangerous offensive weapon in the biggest moments. And the Cowboys know it. Inside that same ESPN report came the quote that sent shockwaves across the league. "He ain't leaving." That came directly from a Cowboys source. This front office has no intention of allowing Pickens to test free agency. They are ready to tag him, they are ready to pay him, they are ready to make him a long-term pillar of this franchise. And according to reports, Dallas isn't afraid of the $28 million price tag the franchise designation would carry. And why would they be? When you find a young superstar who can change games, who can tilt coverage, who forces defensive coordinators to rip up their game plans, you do not let that guy walk. But the part of the story that isn't being talked about enough is the Dak Prescott component. Because Dak has done something that not every quarterback is capable of doing. He has found the balance, when to push Pickens, when to correct him, and when to let him play free. When Dak speaks, Pickens listens. When Dak challenges him, Pickens elevates. When Dak builds him up, Pickens erupts. That's leadership. That's growth. That's chemistry being built in real time. And now the Cowboys at 6-5-1 head into Detroit in a must-win matchup with their season on the line. The Lions at 7-5 are fighting for their playoff lives as well. The national sports books have Dallas as a 3-point underdog. Detroit hasn't forgotten the beatdown they took last season. Every storyline is pointing toward tension, chaos, and high stakes. And this is exactly when George Pickens shines. He's playing under the biggest microscope of his career. His contract year is approaching. His reputation is on the line. The national media is circling the storyline like vultures, and yet Pickens is coming into this game hotter than any receiver in football. Coming off an 1,100-yard explosion through 13 weeks, coming off multiple performances where he single-handedly kept this offense alive. And here's the twist. The Cowboys don't want him to change who he is. Yes, they want accountability. Yes, they want professionalism. Yes, they want reliability. but they also know that the same fire, the same unpredictability, the same edge that sometimes gets him into trouble is also what makes him special. It's what makes him competitive. It's what makes him fearless in contested catches. It's what makes him one of the most dangerous receivers in football. You don't dim that fire. You direct it. And Dallas, finally, is doing that better than any team he's ever played for. This is why the Cowboys have confidence. This is why Jerry Jones is willing to pay. This is why Dak Prescott is embracing him. This is why Mike Eberflus is building an offense around him. And this is why Cowboys Nation is beginning to see something that Pittsburgh never fully unlocked. Pickens isn't a problem. He's an investment. And right now, that investment is paying off. And so as the Cowboys step into a primetime matchup that could make or break their season, one truth stands above all. George Pickens is not holding this team back. George Pickens is pushing this team forward. And if he continues his dominant run, if he shows up under the bright lights on Thursday night, and if he delivers another statement performance in a must-win game, then the Cowboys' playoff hopes, and maybe their future, will rest on the shoulders of a player who came to Dallas with controversy, but is quickly rewriting his legacy with brilliance. Cowboys Nation, now I want to hear from you. Do you think Dallas should lock in Pickens long-term no matter the cost? Do you believe his fire is a strength more than a weakness? And do you trust that this team is learning how to balance talent and discipline better than ever before? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to Cowboys Nation Report, because the Cowboys story this season is far from finished, and George Pickens is only getting started.